It was a night the nation would never forget. The president had just finished a speech, one calling for peace, unity, and the fight against corruption. The crowd cheered as he stepped off the stage. Cameras flashed, reporters pressed forward, and the motorcade prepared to leave. Security detail flanked him, moving with precision as always. The building was supposed to be safe, yet in the unseen corners, a deadly plan had already taken root. A group of armed men had been planning this for months. They studied the president's routines, memorized his speeches, and knew exactly when and where his guard would be weakest. They had one goal: to silence the leader and throw the nation into chaos. To the world, they would look like ghosts who had appeared and vanished in the night. To themselves, they thought they would be heroes of destruction. As the president entered the hallway leading toward the waiting vehicles, the trap was sprung. The overhead lights flickered strangely, casting long shadows across the walls. Communications went silent, radios filled with static. Shouts erupted as agents realized something was wrong, but it was too late. Gunmen emerged from both sides, faces covered, weapons raised. Bullets sprayed through the air, shattering glass and cutting through the silence. Agents shielded the president, throwing themselves in front of him, but they were outnumbered and pinned down. Panic rippled not just through the staff, but through everyone watching from the edges. It seemed certain that the nation's leader would not walk out alive. Then it happened. A presence that no one had expected entered the scene. Witnesses would later describe it as sudden, overwhelming, and almost blinding. A man appeared at the far end of the hallway, though none could recall seeing him walk in. He was clothed in white, but not the white of ordinary fabric. It seemed to glow with its own light, a brilliance that pierced the darkness. The atmosphere shifted. Time itself seemed to slow. The gunmen noticed him too. They swung their rifles toward him, pulling triggers in unison. Yet not a single bullet fired. Metal jammed, triggers froze, barrels smoked uselessly. Confusion spread across their faces. Shouts turned to curses, but their weapons refused to obey them. The strange man raised his hand, calm and steady, his voice filling the corridor though no microphone carried it. He said only one sentence: "This man's time has not yet come." The words shook the air. Attackers staggered back, some dropping their weapons as if burned by fire. A rushing wind filled the hall though no door was open. Agents who moments earlier felt trapped suddenly felt courage return to their bodies. With renewed strength, they rose to their feet, forming a barrier around the president. But all of them, even the strongest among them, knew deep down that the And as long as I live, I will never doubt that divine power walks among us. The world reacted in waves. Believers rejoiced, pointing to scripture and testimonies of angels throughout history. Critics mocked, calling it superstition. Politicians argued, journalists debated, and scholars tried to explain. But in every conversation, one thing was clear: the president had lived when he should have died. The attackers failed when success seemed certain. And a figure in white, a light in the darkness, was seen by many though never identified. History books recorded it as an attempted crime, a failed assassination. Analysts would describe the tactics, the breach in security, and the quick response of the Secret Service. But for those who saw the man in white, for those who heard the words echo through the hall, it was more than history. It was a testimony. It was divine intervention. The angel who rescued the president became more than a story told in hushed voices. It became a reminder that while men may plot evil, heaven has the final word. Guns can jam, plans can fail, and darkness can be scattered in a single moment of light. Years later, those who had been in the hallway still spoke of it with awe. Some said the angel looked like a soldier, tall and commanding. Others said he looked like a simple man, ordinary but glowing. None could agree on every detail, but all agreed on one thing: he was not of this world. The president himself never changed his testimony. Whenever asked, he would pause, look upward, and say, "I was rescued by God's messenger. And because of that, I live." And so, the night that was meant to end in bloodshed turned into a story of deliverance. A nation held its breath, believing it had nearly lost its leader, only to witness what some call a miracle. But this story leaves us with haunting questions. If angels walk among us, how often do they step into our world unseen? Do they guard only leaders, or do they also stand beside ordinary people in moments of crisis? And if this night proved that heaven can move in the affairs of men, what other stories remain untold, hidden in the shadows of history? One thing is certain: evil plotted destruction, but a power greater than any weapon wrote a different ending. This was not just a crime stopped. It was a testimony. What do you believe really happened that night? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment to keep the vault of true crime stories alive.